a video on these leftover frozen cherries, which I've defrosted in there. You can just see them. Is that a better view? That's a better view, isn't it? So, those leftover frozen cherries that have been in the freezer a little bit too long that I have defrosted, and these 2 bits of alcohol which need using up. I kind of bought that because I kind of thought I like a bit of a Negroni, and I kind of thought, I wonder if that tastes like a bit of a Negroni. No, not really. A little bit too saccharine sweet. And then, well, that's the juice from the cherries. This, which was an experiment, so maybe 4 years ago, when we had that awful time, which was the lockdown, which I quite enjoyed, to be honest. I didn't work and I did lots of fun projects. I went out and picked some sloe berries, and then made some sloe gin. And then I also decided that what I'd do is I'd buy some food grade alcohol, which is about 95% proof, and decided that what would happen if we just put some sloes in some of that alcohol, thinking it would make a stronger sloe gin. It didn't. All it really did was pickle them, and not much flavour came out of those sloes into that alcohol. But let's just give it a try. It's about 4 years ago. It's about 4 years old now. It's just been in the in storage. So let's see what it tastes like. It still will be ridiculously strong, because all it really did was pickle the fruit, rather than kind of take out the flavour of the sloes and infuse the sloes with the flavour of the alcohol. Well, let's just give it a try. So I think it'd be about 80% proof still, something like that. It won't have much taste to it, but we never know. It's just really strong. Just really strong. And then what does this one taste like? I can remember thinking, oh, we'll just buy it, and it might be like a substitute for the Campari and the vermouth, and I'll just be able to put some gin in it. But I just thought that it's just not very nice. It's just not a lot going on. It's all right, but it's like 12%, and I need something. With more of a kick than that. So I thought I don't want to waste them. They'll just sit in the back of the cupboard. So I thought, well, what we might as well do is we might as well add them to these cherries, and kind of make like a cherry kind of alcohol. So that's the cherry juice that's come out of the cherries as they're defrosted. I don't want that in there because that's going to water the alcohol down even further. It's like I've got a bit of a cold coming on. Better just blow my nose. So I was thinking how I'd work out. I want it about 50% alcohol. I was kind of thinking how on earth am I going to work that out, and I just couldn't think of how to work it out. So I thought what we'll do is we'll do a 50-50 mix of this and that. It'll probably come out about 40%, something like that. So if we put in, I'm just on my knees. So if we put in 400 millilitres of this, and then we put in 400 millilitres of this into this jug, and then we'll have a 50-50 ratio, and it'll be, oh, we can give it a taste, can't we? Give it a stir around, give it a taste. Normally I'd buy sour cherries, but these were just what the supermarket had at the time. The dark sweet cherries. I prefer the sour ones because I think if we're faffing around with alcohols, you make wine with grapes that aren't edible grapes. Well, they are edible, but they're not very nice to eat. But those are the grapes that make nice wine. And I think anything like sour, like sloes are sour, they make a much nicer alcohol than anything else. So I was kind of thinking sour fruits are better. They're still kind of quite strong, but it'll do the trick. So I'm not going to put any sugar in because I don't want to water it down. I think we might just get all this in with a bit of luck. So what's that? Yeah, not too much. I might just use it all up actually. If it could, the cherries will soak up some of that alcohol. So so we'll just put it all in. And the sediment as well. The sediment will settle down to the bottom. And we'll just leave that in there for, I don't know, 3 or 4 months, something like that. And we'll kind of see what happens. We'll give it a stir. The cherries will infuse with the alcohol. And then we might be able to do something interesting with those. We might candy them or something like that. And then we're left, hopefully, with a nicer tasting alcohol. And if it needs to sweeten it, if we need to sweeten it up, what we can do is we can just stick some sugar in it. That's kind of quite strong already. But anyway, so we'll put that in there. We'll put it in the back of the cupboard. We'll forget about it. And we'll pull it out in a few months' time and see what it tastes like. And that will probably go into some other fruit juices that I'm going to turn into a cordial type of thing. Don't waste that. Put that in there. Oh, and also that's already kind of sweet anyway. So you can see how it's stained the what we call it, stained the bottle on the inside. So goodness only knows what that's made of. But anyway, it's not going to go to waste, is it? Yep. So it's already a little bit sweet. So hopefully that will be enough sweetness in there to make it sweet enough for me. I don't like things too sweet. I did when I was a kid, not so much anymore. I now have a more grown-up and refined palate. Right, so these cherries have had about a couple of months. Let's have a look, let's have a taste. Wow! You can taste the alcohol in them. What does the booze taste like? Pow! That's still really strong, is that? That's still really strong. What I have noticed is that they've shrunk slightly and firmed up, which is rather quite nice. And I think that's probably because of the higher alcohol content of that really strong slow gin that I kind of made, which kind of makes sense, isn't it? Because in a sense the higher the content of the alcohol, it's almost like pickling, rather than like just kind of preserving. It's drawing out more moisture from the cherries and therefore toughening them up. So it's kind of got that nice kind of quite crunch to them, as opposed to, so these are some cherries that I'm just going to use for another experiment. Well, they're kind of quite soft, so I wonder if you're making something like glacé cherries or maraschino cherries, then I wonder if you kind of need to macerate them in a high concentration of alcohol to draw out liquid so they plump up and keep their shape better. I mean, obviously there's some flat ones in there like that, but they will have probably been frozen flat like that. So that's kind of quite interesting, isn't it? But it's certainly worked, and it's certainly made me understand more about things, which is generally a lot of the times when I'm faffing around with something, because I want to learn something, and just having a go at it rather than having to read up on it. And generally, when you try and read up on and find out things, they don't actually tell you what you want to know. They want to just explain what they know. Whereas sometimes the questions that I ask I find it difficult to find the answers to. So that's worked. Yeah, delicious. I wonder if I don't think I'd be able to serve those just as a dessert. I'd really like to, actually. I'd like to be able to just have like some really nice, well, depending on the price people want to pay for the function, just like some ice cream, so some plain vanilla ice cream, and then a few of those cherries on top, and then maybe just a little bit of alcohol, because we normally do warm cherries, thicken up sweeten them, thicken them up, and then pour them over ice cream, like hot black cherries over ice cream. Whereas I kind of think that would be nicer and be more of an adult type of dessert. But anyway, that's worked. I'll just have to be careful not to drink too much of that alcohol because I think it'll give me an absolutely stinking hangover. But anyway, a success.